Back to my dad's channel. Welcome back to my dad's channel. Welcome back to my dad's channel.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. This is Phoenix 198720 here to bring you my latest episode and my Let's Talk About series. But before I get any farther in this video, I want you guys to do me a solid. Hit that like button. Share this with all your friends and family and across all your guys' social media platforms. Then, if you're new to my channel, do me another solid. Hit that subscribe button followed by that notification bell. And if you're a returning subscriber to my channel, I love y'all, and I do love y'all, and if I could thank you all in person, I would thank every single one of my subscribers. And do me another solid. Drop me down a comment below. The good, the bad, the ugly, it's all good to me. And if you want me to cover any Nintendo related topics, let me know, because if I haven't done it, if I haven't covered it, I will get it done. And if I have covered it, well, I'll share my link to that video that I already covered with you. So let's get on the topic. And the topic of today is Nintendo. Did you know? I'm going to give you 10 facts that you guys probably did not know about Nintendo. And some of you might actually know all this about Nintendo, and some of you might be like, whoa, Nintendo? Did you guys know that Nintendo was founded in 1889 in Kento, Japan? Which makes them 132 years old. That's old for a company. They're one of the oldest companies in the world that's still relevant today. And yes, you're thinking, well, video games weren't around back then. Well, Nintendo, which is going on to my fact number 2, is Nintendo started as a playing card making company. They would make playing cards. And that's what they specialized in, was playing cards. Which, for the longest time, especially in the early 1900s and mid 1900s, they had multiple deals with other companies to put their company's mascots or whatnot on Nintendo cards. So, like example, Nintendo had a partnership with Walt Disney back in the 1940s to put Mickey Mouse and all those guys on Nintendo company, which is weird because at that time it was World War II, where at one point Pearl Harbor happened. Sorry, didn't want to mention that, but it did not break Nintendo's relationship with Disney. And they did. They went to Looney Tunes and asked them, and they did. They put Looney Tune characters on there. Any popular franchise, Nintendo went and asked if they can feature them on their playing cards, which to me was an awesome idea. Let's move on to fact number 3. Nintendo was the company that made it through and brought video games back to life after the Great Video Game Depression in the 1970s. Yes, it was Nintendo who was able to survive through that and was able to pull the video game realm back to reality, back to it being relevant. Before then, it looked like at one point Nintendo and video games weren't going to see the day of light. Also, another fun fact. Did you know when Nintendo came out with NES system, Steve Jobs from Apple was worried that Nintendo was going to take over the world because their consoles were automatically built to be Nintendo internet ready once you purchase an item that you can shove it in the bottom of your console. Yes, all Nintendo's consoles, if you flip them over and you take off that piece there and you see something that you can break off with a screwdriver or butter knife, yes, you could buy a piece and it was only famous in Japan. Shove that on there and you can get your satellite, you can get your email through the internet that Nintendo provided. So after Apple and Steve Jobs saw that, they realized, okay, Nintendo is doing this for business purposes, not for entertainment purposes. So they continued. Another fun fact. Did you know in 1992, when the Seattle Mariners owner put their company up for sale, they could not get any American investors to invest in that company, to purchase it, to keep Seattle Mariners alive, and they were gonna move or be completely closed down completely. And then the owner reached out to a fellow friend of his, which was Nintendo, and asked them if they were interested in buying the team for $100 million. Nintendo said, hold up a minute, let me and my people, my investors, let's all talk about this. So right before Christmas, they made an offer to buy the team for $125 million. $100 million were to purchase the team. The $25 million was to do upkeep and renovate the place to make the team more, or the organization more, to make it more better. But the Major League Baseball organization kind of frowned upon Nintendo purchasing the company because the Major League Baseball organization wanted companies from inside the United States and Canada to invest. They did not like the idea of outside North America companies investing or buying their organization, which led up to a great thing because Nintendo also owned a Japanese baseball team, which they started bringing over from Japan into the Major League Baseball to get their stars from their country showing. But that's neither the point. But because Nintendo was smart, and when they bought Seattle Mariners, and one of the best baseball players at that era was Ken Griffey Jr., which we were able to get multiple Ken Griffey Jr. games from the Super NES and up, until he eventually decided to retire. Now, what a lot of people don't know is in 2016, Nintendo sold most of their shares to other investors out there. And Nintendo was able to please a lot of people, but they kept 10% of their shares. So they still own 10% of the Seattle Mariners today. And they have no plans of giving that up because it's a smart business investment. So let's get on to the next fact. Did you know what Nintendo's first mascot really was? And if y'all say Mario, you're wrong. Mario was never supposed to be Nintendo's mascot. Mario was actually a cameo character because Nintendo couldn't get the proper license for their game that they wanted to feature Donkey Kong and Popeye in. Yes, the characters you see in that game was originally Popeye and whatever Popeye's girlfriend was at the time, but because Nintendo couldn't get the license until the year after, they added little tiny bit changes, but not much, and you got Mario. But Donkey Kong, yes, was supposed to be the face of Nintendo, but Mario, as a cameo character, stole the show. Next on the list, let's see. Did you know Nintendo's had multiple partnerships with huge companies, from Walt Disney to Warner Brothers to Sony to Sega to Microsoft, and today they still have partnerships with most of those companies. They still have a little tiny bit of partnership with Walt Disney, yes, that is true. They have a huge partnership with Microsoft, which started back in 2006. Yes, 2006, Nintendo and Microsoft has had a silent partnership, which a lot of people don't know. That's why if you look at the DS handheld games, you'll see a lot of Microsoft IPs on there. The reason for that is Microsoft did not want to dip into the handheld competition, as they saw Nintendo was a beast. It knocked out the Sega Game Gear, it knocked out the PSP, knocked out the PS Vita. So why make competition when Nintendo's handheld when we can still make a profit by by releasing games on Nintendo's handheld. And to this day, they still have partnerships. Nintendo and Microsoft right now are working behind the scenes to better Nintendo's online system. What they're doing, I don't know, because they've been working on this for about 18 months now. And it's been crazy that they were able to do all this. Now, next one on the list, as you probably don't know, Nintendo makes hospital equipment. Yes, from x-rays to CAT scans to heart monitors, they've always had their hand in hospital equipment. It may not have the stamp of Nintendo on it, but yes, Nintendo has made, to this day, Nintendo is still heavily involved with making equipment for hospitals, but also making equipment for patients in there. So, especially at children's hospitals, where they have a console, and they're starting to get more and more of these Nintendo Switch consoles into the hospital, so sick kids can enjoy their stay. As weird as that sounds, so they're not bored and laying there, they can play video games. Nintendo's one of the biggest companies that still does that to date. And let's see what's next on my list here. Nintendo enjoys leaving their glitches in games, especially in the remakes, if fans have found them fun or just very playful glitches. Even in the remakes, they don't take out these glitches, they leave them in. And it's done purposely so fans can enjoy the glitches that they did when they first originally played the game. If it was in 1987 or 2012 or 2021, they leave those glitches in. Another one, since 1989, Nintendo, so in 132 years, Nintendo has only had 6 presidents for the whole entire company. And Nintendo hires their presidents within the company. They do not look outside of the company. They hire within. Somebody that's been with Nintendo for a minimum of 20 years. And once you hit that 20 years, yes, you are eligible to become a Nintendo president based on if you want to apply for it. Now, there's a lot of head people at Nintendo is like, no, I just want to continue producing, designing, story writing, directing video games. Because the godfather of Legend of Zelda has been offered the job not once but twice, and he said, pump those brakes, I don't want that position, I want to keep my original position. And that's what he does. He's still in his original position, but with more responsibility. He oversees a lot of projects, but his main focus is the Legend of Zelda games and that franchise, which is awesome. So we're going to move on to my next one. And this is my last fun fact that you may or may not know. This is the one that's going to end the show. But everybody loves Nintendo. You can't go out there and say, I hate Nintendo, because it's not going to be true. You love something about Nintendo. If it's one of their old IPs, if it's an innovation of their system, if it's how they're good, how their IPs are so good today. There's 1,000 different reasons, but everybody loves Nintendo. So this is the end of my segment for my Let's Talk About episode here. So I want you guys to do me another solid. Hit that like button. Share this with all your friends and family. If you're new to my channel, hit that subscribe button followed by the notification bell so you can stay up to date with my latest videos. And if you're a returning subscriber to my channel, I love y'all and I appreciate all your guys' support. And do me a solid, drop me down a comment below. The good, the bad, it's all good to me. You want to drop me a Nintendo related topic that you would like to see me cover on that channel, go ahead. If I haven't done it, I'll get it done. And if I have done it, I'll share you the link. I'll share the link to you of that video that I have done the topic if I've already done it. So until further ado, or until next time, this is Phoenix 198720 saying I hope you have a good morning, a good evening, good afternoon. Peace.